Hey guys, welcome back to BMR Pool and Patio. Brooks and Anna with you again. Today, we're going to talk about some service on your equipment. A very important part of your pool is this filter to keep everything clean. So we're going to show you today how to clean those filters to keep everything running properly. We need a few tools for this process here, and Anna's going to let us know what they are.
Okay, so first you'll need your strap wrench right here, and then I would prefer getting the cloth one. That just makes it easier to grip. Then you'll need a 9/16 wrench and socket right here. You'll need a Sharpie. You'll need glue, 820. And then you might just need a flathead, and we'll explain later on in the video why you might need that. You'll need a nozzle, so just so you have pressure coming from the hose, and then you will need a rubber mallet.
Perfect. And guys, all this stuff is available just at a normal hardware store, including the lube. That's actually available at Home Depot. If you're over at your pool supply store, they also have one called Magic Lube. Well, very good. Well, what's our first step here after we've have all our tools ready?
Okay, so you want to come to the panel first, and then you'll put your pool from auto into service mode, just like that. And then the reason we're doing it is because we don't want your equipment to try to come on while you're in the middle of cleaning your filter. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to come to your air pressure release valve. You'll open that up, let all the air release.
This is pretty important for safety, isn't it, Anna?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure in these systems, guys, so you definitely want to just release all the pressure from the system.
Otherwise, you might get a filter in the face.
Oh, no, we don't want that.
Okay, so now we'll be using our strap wrench. So the pressure is still leaving the filter, and so that is just fine. So what you're going to do with your strap wrench is you're going to loop it through just like that to where it creates a little circle like this. And then you want to make sure you're going to be going to the left because we're going to be going lefty-loosey to open it up. And then you want to make sure that it's snug before you start moving your wrench. And then once you've gotten that, you're going to pull up on this strap right here and then pull on this. And then you're going to loosen this up. And then once you get it to be by hand, you can do that.
If you can't get it by hand, just be patient. Go ahead and get your wrench back on. Keep turning it with the strap wrench until it's loose enough that you can take care of it by hand. And there we go. Again, guys, this is just going to drain the water out. And there you go. And guys, one thing to note is this will be positioned not always in the back. Sometimes you're going to see this thing in the front as well. And that's because every system has to be plumbed different ways with the pump on a different side sometimes, depending on the heater or the location of the pump.
Okay, so next we'll need our 9/16 socket and then our wrench and then our Sharpie. And then what we're going to use the socket wrench for is we're going to put it on the nut right here, and then we're going to loosen it up to get this band off. And then you do want to make sure that when you're using this that it's pushing left.
Lefty-loosey. And be patient here, guys. It's quite a long bolt. There you go. We got it off. Get it completely off.
And then what I do is I always put it to the side just to make sure that it's not in the way and that I don't lose it.
Guys, one thing to note, if your equipment is lower than your pool, this pool water will continue to drain out of that filter. So if your equipment is level or higher, you're going to be fine. So Anna's going to show you what you need to do if your equipment is lower than your pool. So right over here, this is the suction that comes into the pump. You want to turn this valve, as you can see, off is this direction, and you want to shut off any water that can come through the pump. This is your return side coming back, and here's your main valve. You're going to look for it. Here's suction and intake. Pump is suction, which brings water into the filter. Water comes out of the filter, returns to our manifold to send it back through all your return nozzles, and this is the valve here. So you're closing off each side. Your valve right by the pump, and your valve coming into the return manifold. Guys, we've got the nut off the band like you showed. Sometimes when the equipment's new or old just from heat, you might need to use a flathead just to pop the band loose. So she's going to show you there. You just pry between it there, seeing it released pressure right there. All right. And that guy just lifts right off, guys. This is a two-part filter right here. As you see, she's just making sure all of her parts are in one location. I know we've all done projects and you've got a missing nut or bolt at the end. So as you're disassembling, find one nice place, just organize and set your parts out that you've disassembled.
Okay, so next you'll need your Sharpie, and the reason why is because we're going to mark the top and the bottom piece, and we want to make sure that your top piece always sits directly on the bottom piece of how it first came installed. And then once I'm done with that, put it to the side. And then you may just have to wiggle it off. Okay, and then this piece is your manifold. You'll just want to take it off, and it holds your grids in place. Okay, and then once we take that off, we'll just set it to the side. And then these are your grids, and so we'll just take them out one by one and get to cleaning them.
Is the orientation important of these? Going right back in the same place, up or down?
They're interchangeable, but where these go, it doesn't quite matter.
Right.
So. And then what you'll want to do is start from the top, work your way down. It's very satisfying.
Guys, you can see these clean off pretty easily. Like she said, start at the top here, work your way down, and it just rinses them right out. Make sure, guys, you keep rotating them 360 degrees and just keep rinsing until they're nice and clean. Guys, these filters will last up to 5 years if you clean them quarterly. If you clean these things 4 times a year, they will last you a long time and save you some money. So keep up with your maintenance and save you some money. If you don't clean them, they can be trashed within a year. So keep up with your maintenance if you want to save some cash. All right, guys, so she just finished cleaning one of them. Look at the difference, guys. And I want to make a special note here. This is a fresh build pool at our sales office. For an example up front, it is very important when your pool's brand new to go ahead and check these within a month, because as the pool's new and the plaster's curing, you're gonna have a lot of stuff moving through. So let's go ahead and do a quick clean on these after no more than about 60 days. But this is the difference. This is what you're gonna see, how nicely they clean up. And you saw how easy that just rinses right out.
Okay, so now we'll be cleaning the inside of the filter, and so all you gotta do is just rinse it off. You can take the O-ring and remove it and get that.
And so this is a big rubber gasket that keeps that sealed, guys.
And then we'll put it to the side for now. But then we'll take our hose.
So she's just getting any debris or anything off of that ridge right there where your rubber O-ring sits.
And then right here.
And down in the base here, and obviously that water will drain right out the back where we remove the cap. All right, guys, now she's got her rubber O-ring down. We want to make sure and get it nice and clean, get any debris off of it as well. And don't set it in the grass or the dirt. Find you a piece of concrete to do it on. All right, guys, we got everything cleaned up. You can see our clean filters back here. We've cleaned off the O-ring, and we've also cleaned out our canister here. So Anna now is going to show you starting the reassembly here, and this is an important process right here to start.
So next you'll want to lube all your O-rings. So this union right here, the cap that goes at the very bottom of the plug, has an O-ring right here that you'll want to lube. And so we'll open this up. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. And then just kind of spread that evenly all over that O-ring.
And this just keeps it from drying out and rotting and cracking, correct?
Yes, and it also stops it from leaking.
Oh, very good. Creates a better seal.
So I'll put that over here. You'll have this little O-ring right here that you'll just want to put some on. Again, it doesn't take very much. And then we have our big O-ring right here. This one might take a little bit more. And then you'll just do the inside of the O-ring. I guess I have that.
How do we know which one's the inside?
Well, I guess it's from previous use. Wherever you find that, you can see residue.
Gotcha.
Typically, you want to try to get off as much as you can, but sometimes there's only so much you can do. The main key is just to make sure that it's not leaking when you start it back up.
All right, now she's getting it reinstalled. Be patient here, guys. As you can see, there's your ridge. She's getting it nice and seated all the way around. All right, so we're ready to actually reinstall all of our filters now. One thing to note here, your base here that holds the filters, you want to orientate it so that this return pipe, this is the return section, everything comes in, comes through the filters, goes back out to the pool. You just want to split these two mounts, the circles, and this is your center line right here. Now you can still adjust it a little once you get those in, but you want to just make it easier on yourself and get it oriented.
And it should just slide gently right on top of those pieces, like a puzzle piece. Okay, that looks good. And then you'll slide this right on top. You want to get this lined in or lined up, and then gently push down. And then if you find you still have some space in between right here, gently take your mallet and gently tap.
Always a rubber-headed mallet, guys. Do not use a hammer here unless you want to buy a new manifold when you crack it. See, it just seats it right down.
When you're picking up your lid, you want to make sure you have that Sharpie line, and then make sure you're putting it right back on top where you last had it. Right there.
Very nice.
So now we're going to put our band back on. And this can go in a different spot just as long as it's easy access for you to put it back on. So I'll put it back on this side for us. And then what you're going to do is you're going to push this in right here, take your bolt and start screwing.
There you go, it's seated and touching itself.
Yep. And then our last step to putting all the equipment back together is you'll take your drain plug. Just make sure that's seated nicely in there, just like that. Put it back on. And you just want to make sure you don't cross thread these.
Yeah, these are plastic parts, guys, so be patient there. If you've done about a half turn and it feels tight, you probably don't have it threaded right. So just back it off, be patient, make sure it spins on nicely.
And these are hand tightened, but I always just to like make sure that it's just tight enough so it doesn't leak. So I'll always go back, and this is, you just want to be gentle with it, with your strap wrench, and tighten it just a little bit more. And then that should be good.
Perfect, little quarter turn or so.
And when we go back to starting this up, you want to leave this valve open until water spits out of it.
Perfect, so you're purging the system there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so before we start up, since our equipment sits a little lower than the pool, we need to go back and open the valves. Put that all the way open.
And again, this is just when your equipment is lower than the pool, and that was stopping the flow of the water, so we didn't just sit there and drain the pool out. If you're level or above on your equipment, you're just fine with it.
Then we're gonna head back to our equipment. And then for us, we're just gonna put the pool back in timeout, because if we leave it in timeout, it'll go back to auto. And so I'm gonna hit timeout. And then before we do anything, before we hit filter pump, we just wanna make sure everything looks like it needs to be. Everything is back on it.
It's looking good, Anna.
And then once everything looks good, we're gonna come over to the panel, and then we'll hit filter pump. And then it should get to priming.
And what's timeout mean?
Timeout is a 3-hour service. So it does whatever service does, but it's on a 3-hour timer.
Great, so you're popping the filter pump back on. It's gonna make sure no matter what the schedule is to bypass it and keep it running for 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
And then it'll go back to auto, got you.
Yep, and then we just wanna keep an eye out and make sure that water's flowing through there. And then water should start coming out of this pretty soon.
And be patient, guys, it just takes a minute.
And then you can feel that air coming through.
And now you see, it's starting to purge there. That's normal, guys. And boom, here we go, water's coming out. Go ahead and close it off.
And then we'll wait till this dries out in a second, because we just want to make sure that there's no water leaking from around the band and then the plug on the backside.
And don't freak out if you got a couple drips, because you just released some water here.
Yep.
So you can wipe it with a towel, let it dry out, give it a few minutes. And you're always going to want to do a nice visual inspection. So be patient, let it run for a few minutes, and then take a look at everything. If you have just a small drip here, simple, just cinch that band just a hair more. Same thing on this cap back here. Go ahead and, if you see a drip, just cinch it more. If it continues to drip, I want you to take it back off and check that O-ring.
And when we're checking them and when we go back to tighten anything, you do want to make sure your equipment is off. So
yes, ma'am. So do that process, release the pressure, put it in service mode. All right, guys, we appreciate you watching here. So now you've got something to look at, to understand how to maintain this equipment. And after everything's back and running, you'll see the pressures are pretty low here. So you do have a dial here for clean and dirty. Go ahead and spin that guy. Basically, when you get to about 25 pounds of pressure, actually 30, I'm spinning that dirty to 30, and your normal range is between that 20 and 30. If it approaches 30, you definitely need to clean those filters. As you can see, when they're clean, pressure's great. You want it nice and low, it means everything's flowing well. Guys, thank you for choosing BMR. We really appreciate it. Look out for more videos to come.